You are now listening to the best sports talk show in the Windy City. Combs and Fitz. Windy City Sports Talk. From the burst of the lake, there ain't no mistake. The Combs and Fitz gonna have the greatest of the hot takes.
Okay.
So hop on the board and join the bandwagon.
Ooh.
They gon' keep your feet moving and sometimes how you laughing.
Yeah, that's
so
true.
come on through with the sports talk is what you wish. The West know what's up and don't miss. Fitz gibberish.
I can't do
It
that.
don't matter what team you playing. Well, West gon' burn that flame. So put your team on the map. Guess what? We gon' do the same. From Comiskey to Wrigley.
Well,
From Soldier to UC.
okay.
Windy City Sports is where you need to be. But there is no furthermore. You get the jits. So let's get the rest for Combs and Fitz.
All right, Combs and Fitz of Windy City Sports Talk. Hopefully, you guys can see us. We don't know if we're live or if we set everything up right. We've got a new software that we are trying out this week. So for all of you that are joining us on Facebook or on YouTube or on whatever other platform we may or may not be streaming to, let us know how it looks, how it interacts. There's going to be some bugs, but we figured we'd try it out anyway because we're a podcast and we're trying new things because that's what we do. So what's up, Fitzy?
It looks like it's working. We don't have the right title on it, but okay.
It's definitely working. Because I'm looking at the Facebook page right now and it's definitely working. And even
Well,
though it
it's
doesn't
championship
show,
weeks, championship Sunday.
yeah, but I will tell you this: one thing's good because I just looked at the Facebook page, and when I talk, big screen. When you talk, big screen. So it does do that thing that we were talking about, where it highlights whoever's talking, and we do go big screen. Even though we don't see that happening on here, it is happening on the stream.
Yeah, I mean, I'm glad for it. I see you in a big screen, which I don't like. It makes me a little stick in my stomach, but I do get to look at Hulk Hogan's biceps. His 20.
Yeah, you don't want to see my fat ass, that's for sure. Hulk
his
Hogan over
whatever.
here going like
What did he
this.
say? Inch biceps? I don't remember. 20. I don't know. 27 inch, 50 inch. Who cares? It's championship Sunday, baby.
I hate you.
You hate me?
Yeah. Well, you're gonna talk about my 2-inch biceps? I will knock you out, sir.
You're gonna have to catch me first. I don't think you have the cardio intact to catch me.
Wow.
I mean,
Man.
I think
Is
you'll
that
end up
another
wearing.
fat joke? Are we 2 fat jokes in already?
You might have to wear a brace soon, like Jalen Hurts has to wear one today for the Philly I almost said Redskins. Philly Commanders game.
Philly and Commanders. I mean, you could call, I don't. I mean, you could call them the Redskins if you want to. I don't have a problem with that. I mean, it was a team name. That was their team name. I mean, can't erase history. History happened.
History did happen.
So
you can try to erase it. You can take down statues and stuff.
Well, speaking of history happening, let's start with the Bears, man. And actually, let's start with all the coaching hires because coaching hires happened this week. And when we left on
They did.
Sunday,
Hot take.
our title of our show was "Will the Bears get Ben Johnson?" And both of us said probably not.
No,
because the Bears don't do the right thing. The Bears aren't that team. And then lo and behold, Monday morning, I wake up to some fantastic news. I called you right away. You had no clue that it was going on because you're oblivious to everything. You do a sports show and you don't even go on Twitter to look at sports stuff.
I do
And
work
so
for a
I
living.
call you and I'm like, hey, we got Ben Johnson. And you're like, why? Because they sent him a plane? And I'm like, no, because Adam Schefter just reported it. And you're like, wait, what? And it happened pretty quickly. Ben Johnson loses on Saturday. I expected they were going to interview him a second time, and then they were going to probably have to wait for him to interview with Las Vegas and with New Orleans, and then we would know by Thursday or Friday who he was choosing, and he was going to choose either Vegas or New Orleans because the Bears wouldn't give him what he wanted.
Or what if he went to the Jaguars
Yeah, or the Jaguars.
with your boy
But they
Lawrence?
went out and got yeah, Liam Cohen. They went out and got who they wanted, and I think a big part of that was because Ben Johnson apparently really wanted the Bears job. He really wanted to be in Chicago. He came in for the second interview on Monday and never left. So Ben Johnson is the new Bears head coach. He's starting to build his coaching staff, which to me looks tremendous. I will say that. But one of the things that I want all of the Bears fans, all of the fans out there to know and to listen to and to figure all that stuff out, calm down. Just calm down.
11-6, baby. Here we
because
come. Yes.
still a long way to go.
Yes. Here it
I am
comes. It's time to party.
I am cautiously excited. But I am not. I don't. Like I said, I mean, cautiously excited. It's okay to be cautiously excited. Like I'm excited for the hire. I'm excited for what he's starting to build with the coaching staff because I'm going to tell you right now, the coaches that he's already brought on, there's going to be accountability in the Bears locker room again. There's going to be a culture of winning, and if you don't do your job, you're going to be told that you're not doing your job, and you're going to be held accountable, and there's going to be punishments for things that you do that are stupid. Tyreek Stevenson. There's going to be punishments.
Your boy.
He was my boy, and I gotta tell you, man, I love the kid. I think the kid is fantastic.
There
But
we go. David Lauren. We're going to the Super Bowl.
I mean,
A little much.
I mean,
Oh, you're already doing it.
2 years away. I think 2 years away from being this coming season.
How much for the tickets, David? Can we get future tickets? Can we pay for future tickets?
I think this season. Hi,
Kyle.
I mean, look, it's got right now 7 wins, right? They were a 5-win team last year. Right now, as it presently stands, with a better coaching staff, I'm going to say 7 wins because not only that, but I mean, the
I
Bears
told Ben
schedule
from
in
Dads with
2025.
Bacon 8 and 9.
What's that?
I told Ben from Dads with Bacon 8 and 9.
Okay.
I think my win total is growing as I get more and more excited. I'm going to be the excited one because you're obviously not.
Well,
you just have to pour cold water on me every once in a while.
But listen, listen to the Bears' opponents on the road this season. The Philadelphia Eagles, outside of the division, because we already know about the Lions, Packers, and Vikings. The Philadelphia Eagles, you got to go to Philly. You got to go to Washington again. You got to go to Baltimore. You got to go to Cincinnati. You got to go to San Francisco. And you got to go to Las Vegas. Now, Las Vegas, probably not that big of a deal. But the rest of those are tough games, man. That is a brutal road schedule this coming season. And I have to look at it at right now the way it's presently constructed. And you still don't have an offensive line. You still don't have you have half of a defensive line. There's so much work left to do with this roster that I don't believe they're going to be a playoff team again this season. I'm looking towards the season after that for them to be real good. It's kind of like what we looked at with Marcus Freeman at Notre Dame, right? Like the first 2 years, he was still running Brian Kelly's recruits, and then he finally got his draft class in. So we're going to need Ben Johnson to get all of the Matt Eberflus and Matt Nagy out of here. Because that Matt Nagy stench is still around. Matt Eberflus, Shane Waldron, all of that. It's going to take a year to get all that out of here and to revamp this offensive. It's really hard to rebuild. I know the Bears have the draft capital, and I know that the Bears have I think fourth most salary cap available in um, in the NFL. I get all that, but it's really hard to build an offensive line over the course of one offseason. It's really hard to change a culture of young men who were used to doing things one way, right? And then even if you do, let's say they do build an offensive line, let's say they go in the draft and they get that left tackle that you've been clamoring for the last
Let's
4 to 5
go.
years. If they
Come
do,
on. You
if
want it
they
too.
if they do go out and get a really good center, if they do go out and spend money on interior offensive line, and they do go get an edge rusher, let's say they get the kid from Penn State in the first round of the draft, let's say they get all that stuff, it's still going to take time for that stuff to gel. It's still going to take time for those guys who were here, like the Tyreek Stevensons and the Tyler Scotts and all these guys who were used to doing things one way and not really having to show up for practice apparently, and not really having to do things and try and not having to hold themselves accountable, to learn how to do that again. And so for that reason, I don't think there's anything that the Bears can do this offseason that is going to make me believe that they're a playoff team. How about you?
I mean, yeah, it's very hard when you don't have an interior defensive line or really any. I mean, Braxton Jones isn't going to be back as a left tackle. I mean, he is at least, right below average. I guess some people will say he's average. I have him below average. And you don't have an interior defensive line. You might
Braxton
have
won't
an
be back, right? It's Tevin Jenkins that won't be back.
Well, Braxton Jones got hurt before the end of the year. I don't think he'll be back for the beginning of the year. I forgot his exact injury. I got the production staff on it right now, but he's going to be up. Jeremiah hasn't listened to the show in a while. Usually he'll tell me. He's probably bathing right now, but I don't think he's going to start the season healthy. So not having an offensive line, you can't find a lot of those guys in free agency. Even if you do, you're putting those together piecemeal now. That's a problem. Nothing lines up again with the Bears. Nothing lines up. So you got the quarterback. You got the best coach out there. You got an okay GM. I guess we can say he's okay until further review. And you don't have an offensive line where you have to build that through the years, which should have already been built. You had the runway to build an offensive line, or at least a decent one. And I don't see they even have that. I know a lot of teams in this league don't have a great offensive line. I'm not even asking for that. I just don't want a fucking disaster of an offensive line. That's all I want. I don't think that's a lot to ask. I don't want a complete disaster. I know even the Texans probably lost their playoff game, not just because of roughing the passer calls, which that was part of it, but also CJ Stroud got sacked 8 times. He did hold the ball for long periods of times too. But I don't want to. It's okay if, their average are just a shade below. I don't want to be setting records for sacks and people going, oh, those sacks are on Caleb Williams. Yeah, he avoided a lot of sacks too. So even if we call that even, which I don't think it's even, it's still a terrible showing of the offensive line. Their run game was not consistent this year. They had no consistency at all. They didn't even have an identity because of Shane Waldron. So hopefully that'll repair some things. They should have had a couple of games that they won. So maybe you can call them 7-10, 8-9 this past season, just because of coaching incompetence. They lost at least 2 games, maybe 3, just on coaching incompetence, and not even coaching incompetence, acute coaching incompetence. So coaching incompetence in like the last 5 minutes of a game or last 35 seconds of a game or a half. So I hopefully that'll turn around. Not knowing who Ben Johnson is, though, I don't know if that's going to be even or not. I got him at 7 or 10 or 8 or 9 right now. I mean, we can't say what's going to happen now. It's kind of foolish to even say what their record's going to be, but I'm kind of joking when hey, Shanna, she found us. See, people are finding us. People will come.
Are finding us.
People will come, Ray. Yeah. No, they won't. Okay, it's not even going to play. Anyway,
when you got bad internet service from a guy who sells
Stop
internet.
it! My internet is fine. You can see me. Believe, Combs. Believe it.
I do believe you have bad
Believe it.
internet.
Believe we're not talking about the White Sox today. Believe that. Anyway, I wish
What do
there
you
was just
feel
more.
about how do you feel about the coaching staff he's assembling? I love having like Al Harris being the defensive passing game coordinator. I love having Antoine Randall being the wide receivers coach and assistant head coach. Like I love the the former player aspect of thing. They're talking about an offensive. I don't know if they've actually hired the offensive line coach. I my vote is Olin Kreutz, man. Why not go get Olin? Bring him back. A guy who loves this
For
team as much
$15
as
an hour.
anybody, a guy who knows. Yeah, well, not for that. But why don't you bring back a guy who loves this organization and who is one of the best centers of all time? Did I lose you?
No, you didn't. I mean, he does make a lot of sense. He does make a lot of sense when he talks. You might want to hire your volume there, Combs. It's okay. We don't need to hear Combs when he talks. He doesn't have many good
How
sports
about
stuff.
now? Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now?
I can hear you.
Yeah, I don't care if you can hear me.
Oh,
I
I
care
don't
about the
want to
people
have
on
to
the
hear you
stream
and
that
then
are listening
respond to
to
you.
us, being and they're listening to the show because they want to hear my voice, not yours.
Not really.
Oh,
Not
okay.
really. You had to wear the Cubs hat today. Jesus.
Anyway, how do you feel about the coaching staff? I asked you a damn question.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's coming together. I mean, I don't know how these guys are going to perform. They're obviously all getting promoted to new positions, just like Ben Johnson. I think it's good. I like to see a lot of former players that were good in their positions or at least had some success. I wouldn't mind Olin Kreutz coming back, but I don't know if that's going to happen. I wouldn't mind having a little ex-Bear, ingredients in this for once. Haven't had a lot of that in a long time. Ron Rivera, maybe the last one to a higher position. My brother John wanted Ron Rivera as head coach. I'm glad they didn't go that way. I don't want another defensive coach, but
Yeah, no,
I think it's rounding out pretty good. I think a lot of people have respect for Ben Johnson. When you get the number one coaching candidate, you hope that filters down into better candidates for your offense, for your offensive coordinator, for defensive coordinator. A lot of people want to jump on the bandwagon. I mean, this looked like a decent roster to above average roster when the season began. So maybe some guys see that they can do something. What the hell competition are you having? Are we having a competition?
yeah, of what the hell? Keep saying what the hell to each other. No, I like the direction that Ben Johnson has gone with this coaching staff. And I just, for me, moving forward, like it's about the roster, right? Like how does he construct the roster? What are we going to do offensive line wise? There's a
Yeah.
lot of talk about the guard, the tackle from what the hell? Um Combs is still at 50% fits his volume. Well, it's because he's loud.
I
I
am kind of
can't do
loud.
anything. I can't be as loud as Ryan Fitzgibbons. He's just naturally loud.
Can you talk with like some conviction, like you actually care about being on the podcast today? I mean, did you just
First of
roll
all,
out of bed?
sir,
How much wine did you have last night? No, now. No. That's it. Pause and show. Pause and show. We're going off on a little sidebar here.
what is
Little
going on?
sidebar here. How much wine did you have with the mother-in-law, with the wife, and the
I
friends?
don't drink wine.
There was a little wine party upstairs, and you were hiding in the basement when I talked to you last night. Did you
If you
ever
want to talk
make
about
your
rum and
way up?
coke,
Did you ever
if you
make
want
your
to talk
way up
about
to
rum
the
and coke, we got
basement?
rum and coke.
Did you make your way up to the basement and hide behind a corner and try to listen to what shit they were talking about you? I have a feeling that happened. You got your socks on, your little booties on. You walked up the stairs. You're trying to. Do you know the creaks on those steps up the stairs? Do you know where they're at to where you can walk up there without making noise? Kind of turn around the corner. What were they saying about you?
I'm gonna punch you in the throat. I mean, that's just it. I'm gonna punch you in the throat. And now somehow, we're using a new software. For those of you just joining us, we're using a new software, and everything. We're trying everything out and seeing what works and seeing what doesn't work. And now on our screen, I'm stuck in small screen while Fitz is stuck in big screen. I don't know. I don't know what's going on. Is it the
Because you're
same for
not
you?
loud enough.
I'm very loud. I don't know. I can't turn it up anymore. I think you did this on purpose. I think you said,
You
"Hey."
probably crawled into a bottle of whiskey.
I think you said, "Hey, let's try this new software because it'll make me sound really good. It'll make you sound really bad, and we can just it'll mess with you." I think you're doing this on purpose. I think you knew that the software would not work.
Dave Lawrence says, I want to talk about Doubting Thomas's Bin Laden since we were doing side notes. I did not see his Bin Laden yet. He has not unleashed it yet, Dave, but
Yeah, he did.
it must be on YouTube. He did? Can't hear Combs.
No, look at his moniker.
Yeah, Osama Bin Laden. Did you say that last night when we actually accidentally went live?
No, I told him that. I said, who's his moniker going to be? It's probably going to be. I think I said I forget. I said I said Jack the Ripper. Move your mic close. What do you want me to do? You want me to swallow it?
Can't you higher the volume
Dude,
somewhere?
the volume. How about now? How about now? I mean, I don't want it to sound bad. I'll be honest. I don't care if it sounds bad when we are on video. I care if it sounds bad when we transfer it over to podcast form.
So you don't care about the people that are listening to the show right now. This is basically what you're saying.
Shanna's hearing me just fine. I think it's Megan TV. I think here's a question.
Shanna.
Megan TV is your
Shanna can be
sister.
on Facebook.
Megan TV
This
is your
could be a
sister, correct?
YouTube thing.
Megan TV is your sister. Is that correct?
Why are we doing this?
And Doubting Thomas is her husband, correct?
This isn't on the show prep. This isn't on the rundown.
No,
I don't
hold on.
see this
I'm
on the
asking you a
rundown.
question. Can you answer it, please? Megan
She
TV is your sister?
She says way better. Yeah, she is.
All right. And Doubting Thomas is her husband, correct?
Sometimes.
All right.
I
So
call
since
him
they're
your
family,
boyfriend,
my
so.
guess is that you gave them a deal on internet. Because they're the only two that can't hear me.
You think I sell the circuit of internet? You can't even get your mind wrapped on around what I sell. You think I sell the circuit of internet? You don't even know what I do.
I think you sell the. Look, if internet was like the best internet was WWE, right? And wrestling champs, you sell like old school AAW,
which was probably way cooler than the rape fest that is the WWE. And we've talked about this on the show about a year ago. Jewel says I can hear Combs. Megan TV says it's way better.
Okay.
I mean, we knew this would happen. We knew this. We're trying new things. We're like a girl who goes to college for the first time and has a roommate. She's never been into girls before.
See, thank you.
Suddenly
I'm
she
telling
wants
you,
to try out new things.
I think you just sold Megan and Doubting Thomas
internet. You just make up things, and that mind has like
their
it's just a
stream
one-way
quality is
street.
down.
There's no neurons really firing in your mind. It's just like a one-way street. It just like goes and then just stops. And then it doesn't learn anything. There's no learning. There's no elasticity in there. It's nothing. You just one track mind. That's it. You learned it. It's over.
What's a neuron?
Unbelievable.
So
So,
look, the
so
new
I
head
you
coaches.
didn't answer the wine question. Was your wife talking shit about you upstairs while you were hiding in your cave like a troll?
Most likely, most likely. I don't know.
Okay.
I don't
Okay.
know. Nor do I
Like
care
we do
really.
know.
I mean, I had to
Oh
hear all
wow.
I had to hear all sorts of stories about edibles and like you just trust me. You don't want to know. You don't want to know.
I want to know. That's why I asked.
No, you don't want.
I think
You
everybody
don't want
wants to know. We now have 10 people listening live.
to.
Our
No, no,
viewers are starting to
because
go
there were
up here.
stories I didn't even want to hear that I ended up hearing from my sister-in-law and edibles and her and her husband. Trust me, you don't want to know.
Okay.
I promise you. Nobody wants to know. So other head coaching jobs, the Dallas Cowboys on Friday night at 9
Mm,
p.m. Central
mm.
Standard Time announced their big hire for their head coaching position, and it was Ben Schottenheimer. Ben Schottenheimer. Now keep in mind, Joe Brady's still out there, Cliff Kingsbury's still out there, Kellen Moore is still out there. I mean, there's still some really good Todd Monken's still out there. Some really good coordinators that could be head coaches.
Yeah.
But the Dallas Cowboys decided they were going to hire Ben Schottenheimer, and Jerry Jones' big announcement in his infinite wisdom, and I don't even know what this meant. And we talked about this on BetMGM tonight. Was he will no longer be known as Ben. He is now the head coach at the Dallas Cowboys. So
What?
did he change his name?
What is going
Did-
on?
I don't know. But this is what Jerry Jones does though. Like Jerry Jones is out of touch with, like, we here in Chicago believe that the McCaskies are out of touch with reality, which I think is starting to change. I think the McCaskies are starting to
Who-
take a back seat, and I think George is happy with that role.
Yeah.
But
Finally.
yeah, finally.
Mm,
But Jerry
Took him
Jones is
40 years.
absolutely not fine in that role, and Jerry Jones still believes he's the best owner and GM in the NFL. And sir, I
Well,
mean,
he's the same age
you
as
have
Joe
not won
Biden.
a Super Bowl since 1995.
But the,
I feel like you haven't won a playoff game since 1995. Um, and it's like I don't know what you're doing here. And now, as soon as that, like 10 minutes after that is announced, it is also announced by it is also announced by Adam Schefter that the lead candidate for the defensive coordinator position of the Dallas Cowboys and Ben Schottenheimer, Matt Eberflus.
yes. The lead candidate. Let's go.
Matt Eberflus. So now, not only are
Tactician.
you,
Just
yeah,
don't let him call. Don't let him get in control of your timeouts, your challenges, your roster construction, um, pretty much anything. Your disciplinary keys. You know, really, if the Bears would have done what they should have done, and I keep saying this, if they would have done what they should have done and fired Eberflus last year, um, he probably would have been a defensive coordinator where he probably should be. And I didn't even get to
yeah.
read that comment. But
I didn't take it down. It just came down on its own automatically. I don't know what just
it's
happened.
got a 10-second timer on it.
Oh, okay. Oh, that's nice, actually. I like that.
Georgia's still a diplomatic shithead. Oops.
I'll go back to my seat.
Marty's son, gotta say it's a low risk when Dion gave Jerry a handshake. He's coming next year if he gets a national title. I don't think
He's
Dion's
not getting a national title.
national title. I think he's over welcoming his stay already over there in Colorado.
Yeah, Colorado. The rumor here, so rumors that I'm hearing about Dion in Colorado is that he asked for more NIL money, and they told him we don't have it. And so, like, where's he going to get players? And I mean, Shador wasn't even good. And he's not going to be good in the NFL. Dude, I can't wait to see who takes him in the
It's going
first
to be a
round of the
top
draft.
10 pick. Maybe top
Watch him go to the
20.
Cowboys to learn under Dak. That'll be even better.
I mean, I just think that Cowboys organization is a joke. I mean, Jerry Jones is now 82, around the same age as Joe Biden, who is running that team. I don't know.
Yeah, it's tough, man. So the Cowboys are
Fluke's
kind
not
of
that fucking good as DC to me. Hasn't been a top 5 guy. Had a loaded Colts defense, plenty of assets. Yeah, and I don't think the Colts defense was ever top 5. Maybe one year.
yeah.
There were that Colts defense did get a lot of turnovers, and so did the Bears. So that's a thing. But a lot of those defenses do.
Megan, I can see your chat. I don't know. You just didn't she say it was good?
I'm high. You're not high. I could see the levels over here.
But didn't she say it was good?
Yeah, she did, but I don't know. I don't know. I don't know what to tell you.
Hong Kong listeners back, baby.
Yes.
Miss you, Combs. I miss you too. I got $5.
Oh my God, this is disgusting.
And then Shad on Sports says Flus not that fucking good as DC to me hasn't been a top 5 guy. Had a loaded
just
Colts
read
defense and
that.
plenty of assets.
Were you? Did you have a fucking seizure or something?
I told you I don't listen when you're talking. I was trying to figure out my volume thing because one person in the freaking chat can't hear me because you sold their internet.
I think Pete Carroll could be okay for the Raiders. We're still talking about sports.
See, this is the one that I wanted to talk about because I was talking with some people on Facebook who believe that this was a great hire. And look, for the Raiders, I think it is a really good hire. I mean, you're trying to build culture. You want a head coach who's been a head coach before. Like, I understand all of that. But you're in a division where Andy Reid, Jim Harbaugh, and what's Broncos head coach name? I always forget his name.
Sean Payton.
Sean Payton are head coaches, and you're also going to a division where right now Bo Nix, who had a really good season and it looks like he's the real deal out in Denver. You have Justin Herbert, who is a top 5 quarterback in this league right now, and you have Patrick Mahomes.
Justin Herbert is a top 5 quarterback.
Absolutely, and then
he absolutely isn't. He shit the bed in the playoff game again. He absolutely is a top 5 quarterback. To who? Who is he better than? That's in the top 5. Who is he better than? He's not even better than Jaden Daniels.
Oh, okay.
Right now.
A top 10 quarterback in the league right now. And then you've got Patrick Mahomes.
Thank you.
Right? Who's the second greatest quarterback of all time right now. You're going to a Raiders team to rebuild. Like the Raiders you're 73 years old. And to try to rebuild with the Raiders at that age, like I mean, unless there's a plan, unless you're planning on bringing an assistant head coach with you or an offensive coordinator that you can mold to take over for you here in the near future, and you want to help build this roster and set this team up for the future, that part I would understand. But this for Pete Carroll reeks to me of what John Fox was to the Bears a few years back. Just taking the money. Like, I don't.
Thank you, Shannon Sports.
I don't.
Proving the point. Go on.
I don't know that this is a great move for him, and I don't know that he's going to be totally invested in a rebuild. Like, who's going to be the quarterback there? Who's going to be the quarterback there? Are you telling me they're getting somebody out of this draft class?
They're going to have to. Right? I mean, they're going to have to.
Who are you talking about? Like, I mean, are you getting Will Howard?
Maybe they get Russell Wilson.
Will Howard's probably the
Bring
best.
them back together. The band's back.
ran him out of Seattle. I don't think he's bringing him back. But here, like, I mean, do you go get Justin Fields? Do you trade for, whether it's JJ McCarthy, or do you take a chance on Sam Darnold if Minnesota decides to keep JJ McCarthy? Like, what are you going to do to compete in that division over the next 3 years? It's a 3-year contract. What are you doing over the next 3 years in Las Vegas to compete with the roster that they have now? Like, it's a total overhaul. It just does not make sense to me if you're Pete Carroll. Do you think that this was a good move for Pete Carroll?
I mean, he was desperate. So what else is he going to go? Is he going to go down to the Jaguars? Probably not. I mean, at least the Raiders are showing, they really want to win and are trying to put their money where their mouth is and trying to, I mean, they're not doing a great job of it, but they did try to get Gruden and pay him a bunch of money. I know the Antonio Pierce thing didn't work out, but I mean, I think Geno Smith, Kirk Cousins, or Sam Darnold would be good
But
seat
you're not
holders.
competing in that division with Geno Smith, Kirk Cousins, or Sam Darnold. I'm
Sam
sorry,
Darnold
you're
had a
just
good
not.
year. Sam Darnold had a good year.
Sam Darnold had a good year on a great coaching staff. I'm talking about like one of the best coaching staffs in football right now in Minnesota.
Yeah, I mean,
And then he woke up in like week 15 and hit his head off of the headboard,
could have been
or
hurt.
off of a ceiling or something, and he remembered that he was Sam Darnold, because in week 16, 17, and in the first round of the playoffs, he was Sam Darnold.
Well, you can say the same thing about Justin Herbert. Justin Herbert has more years, being a starting quarterback, has more playing time. They're probably on the same trajectory years wise, and maybe Sam Darnold's got a year or two on him, but I don't know. That might not be a seat holder until whoever you get in the draft fills in.
Sam Darnold to Justin Herbert.
Yeah, I did.
What?
I mean, he had almost an MVP season, dude. You can't just say that never happened because of one playoff game. I can say Justin Herbert shit the bed twice. Couldn't score a touchdown in the second half against Trey Lawrence and the Jaguars and gave up how many point lead? I mean, he's not on defense for the Chargers in that season, but man, did not play good in that second half. Played like crap in this game. And I was pissed off because don't you dare do that to my Jim Harbaugh.
There was also, look,
get on to today's
you
game.
watched the game, right? Did you watch that? You watched the whole playoff game?
Not the entire game once it was done.
But I mean, if you look at
something happened in the last 4 minutes, I'm not aware of.
If you look at the box score, the 4 interceptions and the 1 touchdown look really bad, right? But 2 of those interceptions went off of receivers' hands that popped up into the air.
Still 2 more.
Well, yeah, sure. But I mean, when you're talking about 242 yards passing, 1 touchdown, 2 interceptions, and he completed, I forget what it was. It was a good amount. He still
cannot make those numbers look good. Please.
66. He completed 66% of his passes.
Yeah, that's okay if 34% of the passes are into the other team hands.
But they weren't like you.
Yes, they were. He had 4 picks.
One of those interceptions was a really bad pick. The other ones, they should have been balls that were caught. I mean, how many drop passes did they have?
They had quite a few. I will give you that. They had quite a few.
That's what I'm saying. You can.
2 of those picks are on him. He had how many picks all season?
It's the same argument we always had about Justin Fields. He didn't have any.
Justin Fields had 4 picks in a game. I am not making the argument he had even a slightly good game. I am not making that argument.
Okay. I mean, his passer rating this year was 101.7, but sure.
Yeah, and I'm sure Sam Darnold was just as good, maybe even better. I'm just saying. Sam Darnold can be a seat holder on the Raiders until they get until a rookie's playing a little bit better. Ooh, Quentin Johnson was open the whole game. He's laying out
Yeah,
the
but
bait
every
for
time
you.
you throw the ball to Quentin Johnson, he
See,
drops it.
see, he put the bait out for you
And
there.
I wanted Quentin Johnston so bad. And I'm kind of glad that the Bears didn't get him because he's been surprised. Because the
Exactly.
thing with him at TCU was good hands. I mean, he had great hands. If you watched him in that national title game, that ball that he caught coming across the middle, where it was, I mean, it was just a straight hands catch because he had to reach out for it, and then he just burned everybody down the middle of the field. Like I was like, man, this dude is definitely going to be the real deal. Boy, was I wrong about that guy, man.
Yeah, he did not catch a lot of passes last year. It wasn't targeted a whole lot. I mean, it was sort of a crowded wide receiver room, but this year not very good.
Yeah.
Let's get on to
So
the
Sam
game.
Darnold had almost exactly the same season as Justin Herbert, by the way.
Thank you for proving my
There
point.
is a sound difference between Facebook and YouTube today.
Okay. Thanks, Shanna.
I mean, that's good to know because with the new software that we're using,
I still see your
good
levels
to
being
know.
low. I still see your levels being low, but okay.
Look, they're maxing out on my damn mixer. Like I really can't go
I don't
any
know how
louder
you have
without
that
blowing
thing
my
plugged in
eardrums
over
out.
there. I got to get over there and check out how you got stuff plugged in.
I got it plugged in the same way that we do it every single week. But we're using the only there is one thing we're doing today that is
I think
different
you've been
than
low
everything
for
else.
months, and I just allowed it to happen.
There's one thing that we are doing different today. One thing. And that is the site that we are using to stream. Everything else has stayed the same. I mean,
Then why am I not low? Then why am I not low?
maybe because you're the one that set the whole thing
Ah,
up. I don't know.
Oh God, it's a conspiracy theory. You suck. Thanks, Dave.
I
Thank you,
think he's
Dave.
talking about you.
Yeah, I know. He is talking about me. I know who he's talking about. He's got nothing better to do over there. Nice cut down, Dave.
Might be a setting on your new software, says Shanna. Could be. Could be. Liam Cohen, any thoughts on Liam Cohen to the Jaguars?
I mean, I think that Jaguars organization, geesh.
Yeah.
I mean, you want to look good as a Bears organization, just compare yourself to the Jaguars, I guess. Trey Lawrence ain't doing anything for me. I don't think there's any coach that's going to go down there and make them good.
Yeah, I mean, as long as Trevor Lawrence is there.
Fitz would still sound loud if his microphone was unplugged.
That's fair.
Maybe your headset sucks.
It's the same headset that I use every
Again,
week.
you have been low every week. I'm
It
just
has
saying.
not.
It has been.
Dude, okay. When was the last time that you downloaded it and edited it?
We can go listen. We can go listen to it after the show. Can we get on to the games, please, that are being played today? I can give a shit less about the Jacksonville Jaguars. I was talking about Combs' volume. We're going to talk about his volume all day. I'll sit back here then and talk.
I'll swallow my mic. Is this better? She said to move my mic closer to my mouth.
Oh my God.
This is the closest I
I'm
could
not
get.
going to say what this sounds like. I'm not going to say what
I
this
can't get
sounds
any
like.
closer with the mic.
I'm just saying that sounded like
we're going back to the old
it sounded like you were doing favors to move up the prison hierarchy for a second there.
Hey, $20 is $20, sir.
Oh my God. 20 cigarettes maybe.
All right, so last question for you on the head coaching thing. Should the NFL change its hiring process? Because I think I don't think you should be able to interview and hire until after the Super Bowl, because you look at guys like Joe Brady right now, and up until last week, Todd Monken and Ben Johnson and these guys. Is it fair to these coordinators that you are enticing them and interviewing them and offering them a job while they are supposed to be focusing on a Super Bowl run? Like, if you just made it so that the you are not able to interview candidates until after the Super Bowl, would that
Yeah,
level
but
the playing field?
what if somebody halfway through the season fires their coach? What if, people want to get their coaching staffs ready to go and get stuff started as soon as they can? I mean, that's one reason why Ben Johnson made his decision so quickly so he could get started as soon as he can. I mean, Detroit fans are like, couldn't you have waited 2 weeks to what? To cry? I don't get that. Like,
Yeah,
people leave, coordinators leave all the time. I mean, go talk to the Chiefs. How many offensive coordinators they got? Freaking Matt Nagy being the offensive coordinator because Eric Bieniemy left, and all the guys that have left there. I mean, it's been insane for the
right.
Chiefs just because they've been successful. A lot of other teams are successful, and people leave, but I think they want to get stuff started as soon as they can. It sounds good, but I don't know if in practice it would work out. I just don't know.
Yeah, there's got to be some, because like, when you I mean, look, I don't know if the Cowboys still would have made the same decision, but when you're hearing reports that Joe Brady is going to choose to stay in Buffalo, and Kellen Moore is going to choose to stay, like, they're both about to play in the championship games. Cliff Kingsbury about to be in the NFC Championship game. Kellen Moore about to be in the AFC Championship game. Like, you're doing all of this, and you want to interview these guys, and these guys are forced to make a decision. Do I want the distraction of interviewing and thinking about whether or not I want to take a job elsewhere and coach another team next year, or do I want to focus on trying to win a Super Bowl? Like, it's just it puts the coordinators that are available to be head coaches in a bad position, in my opinion. Like, because it's just not, you want to be a head coach. That's the ultimate goal. You also want to win a Super Bowl. Like, it's it shouldn't have to be a choice, right? Like, it should be, hey, I'll worry about this after the Super Bowl, and none of the positions will be filled by the time I'm done with the Super Bowl, because they can't hire anybody till after the Super Bowl. Now, maybe you should be able to interview candidates um, that aren't coaching at the time. So if you're in the playoffs, you can't interview. But if you're not in the playoffs, or if you don't have a job currently, then yes, you can interview during the playoffs and all that good stuff. But a hiring decision can't be made until after the Super Bowl is over. And if all those candidates come in, and I want to hire one of those, and I don't want to interview Joe Brady, then so be it. But Joe Brady and Todd Monken and even Ben Johnson to an extent over in Detroit. I mean, I don't know how much of a distraction it was for him. Um, Maybe he wanted to be in Chicago so bad that on third and or fourth and whatever, he decided to have Jameson Williams throw an interception. I don't know if that had a decision to do with what he wanted, but it shouldn't have to be a choice. It shouldn't have to be one or the other. There should be a level playing field, so to speak.
Yeah, I mean, it'd be nice. Like I said, in practice, it sounds good. So does communism, though. And communism did not work out in practice. I just don't see, if there's a coach, that took a year off or two, like Belichick did, and you want to hire him. Are you going to wait after the Super Bowl for that, or do you want to get going in, end of December? That's
Okay.
my own whole thing. But I guess if a guy, I guess maybe for all the guys that are that's weird too. Like all the guys that are in the playoffs, you have to wait till after the Super Bowl. I guess you can make that rule. That'd be
Well,
a
yeah,
little weird.
because I mean, it's just not. I don't think it's weird. I think it stops them from being distracted. You know what I mean? Like, if you're Ben Johnson, you want to go to Chicago. I mean, he's saying all the right thing. Like, he said, Yeah, we came here once a year to go to a Cubs game. He's a Cubs fan, by the way, so fuck you. He came once a year with his family to go to a Cubs game,
Unbelievable.
and he loved the atmosphere at Wrigley
What
Field,
a loser.
and he told his family that these are the types of fans that he wants to surround himself with. So that's what sold them on Chicago. So if he already knew he wanted to be the Bears head coach, and the Bears already knew they wanted to hire him, they would have no problem waiting until after the playoffs. Now, if you want to interview Todd Monken, and if you want to interview Kellen Moore and Cliff Kingsbury, what is an extra 2 weeks? You're not doing anything. Free agency doesn't open until a week after the Super Bowl. You're talking about the draft isn't for another 3 months. Like, it's not like you don't have time to just wait a couple of weeks until after the Super Bowl to hire your new head coach.
You beat me with the length of the conversation. You beat me down. You win. Let's do it to after. But if a guy can't chew bubblegum and walk at the same time, I have a problem with that. If you can't deal with the distractions of the job and trying to get a head coaching job while you're doing something else, maybe you're not the head coach for me.
What?
I'm saying if you can't do both at once, if you can't take an interview and run an offense or a defense as you're going through the playoffs, and you can't take a 3-hour interview,
So
you might have a
Fitz,
problem.
if you're because you're in sales, so if you have to meet with a client today, is an extremely important client, and if you land this, you're going to make enough money to take care of your family, but you're also going to be taking an interview that morning, which you have to make a decision by the end of the day because you have to move your family to wherever you have to move your family to. That doesn't distract you a little bit? That's not going to weigh on your mind? You're out of your mind.
You
It would
wouldn't
weigh on any
believe
human
you
being's
wouldn't
mind.
believe the hangovers I've had in sales meetings. So, I mean, yes, I can handle it. Obviously, you wouldn't believe the hangovers I've had to juggle in my lifetime. I've done this show. I'm freaking drunk.
I
So,
miss drunk
yeah,
Fitz.
you're drunk still.
I said I miss drunk Fitz.
You're not the only one.
Oh, all right. What do you want to move on to? Where are we going now? You tell me.
Yes. It's gibberish. It's a diatribe. It's conspiracy theory. And it's an island in the middle of an unapologetic. And sometimes, sometimes we're not very good at our job, sports talk.
And with this new software, I can't put you in full screen and walk away and take my headset off like I normally do.
You have to actually act like you're listening to the stream. Can't. Here we go. Yeah.
Thomas says I miss cocaine Fitz.
We do too. We do too. Never liked cocaine. But anyway, I hope Aiden doesn't ever see any of these recordings. Yes, it's been almost 15 years since Brad Pitt and Jonah Hill made dorks cool again. And even 25 years since Billy Beane, the architect of Moneyball, same name of the movie, did just that for Major League Baseball. And being a total nerd myself for baseball in particular, I welcome the dorks and I welcome the data. Let the dorks take over is good when they create robots who help Combs make his bed right after said Shebot helped him mess the bed in the first place. Anyway, works. Let me get back to God. Dorks aren't good when they're turning all of our players into super efficient, non-creative robots themselves. How you say? Well, follow my logic if you can. Come into my brain, Combs, if you can. No one is today. No one is going to want to see Mahomes and Allen face off and turn into check down, roughing the passer, check down, pass interference, check down, face off. But that might be what we get today. A lot of quarterbacks right now aren't throwing the ball downfield as much as they used to. So for those of you scoring at home, and it's championships weekend, so what else could you possibly be doing other than wondering whether your nacho cheese can double as a lubricant? Sex robots good. Sports robots, athletes are bad.
It can be.
Yes.
friends.
Yes. Data in sports or what play, move, or decision favors that math is hurting the product on the field. Whatever happened to a Magic Johnson fast break? The John Elway swagger to the line before a big play like he had elephantitis of the balls to go for it all. And the Tiger Woods golf club to the windshield. Well, maybe not that, but Daddy likes action, baby. Daddy wants his dopamine hit, and Daddy's going to get it one way or the other. I want passes downfield.
Daddy ever again.
I want passes downfield. I want tomahawk jams, god damn it. Sean Kemp had 11 kids, for Christ's sake, for a reason. Maybe he had 13. I don't know. Oh, and I got examples. I got oodles of examples. In 2007, Tom Brady threw for 50 TDs. Then in 2013, Peyton Manning said, I'm going to do the same thing, but just pass for more. And I'm way older and my neck is broken. Then Patrick Mahomes did it in his sophomore season of 2018. This year, nobody whiffed 50 passing TDs. Mahomes has 26 passing TDs. 26. And although I want to blame all of that on Nagy, I can't. Some league averages are up on offense after a slow start, but there's way too many QBs having good years with 20-something TDs and 5 to 10 interceptions. Justin Herbert. What that tells me is too many in this game are playing it efficiently instead of creatively. I'm a Bears fan. I've seen 3 screen and a punt possession way too many times. Check down, 5-yard play, wide receiver screen. How many times have we seen that, Combs? And this making data decide our every step in sports has already extended its tentacles to Moneyball MLB, where league batting averages are way down no matter how many rules Theo Epstein and Rob Manfred's receding hairlines want to change. Spin rate is calculated so precisely by so many teams. Shohei Ohtani hasn't jerked off righty in 5 years. Yes, they take a young arm from the minors and have them concentrate on max effort with fastball and breaking balls with insane spin rate that Tommy John surgery is coming a rite of passage for most pitchers. Vegas should have a line on what Shohei Ohtani will have more of before the end of his career. Tommy John surgeries or interpreters. In basketball, something must be done about basketball. Yes, the Bulls and the Hornets tied their own record this year of missing 75 3-pointers in a game. Coaches, athletes, GMs, and yes, fans, I blame you. Please stop and bring the human touch back into these games. And please, I don't want to think about what Combs is doing with robots in his bed. Combs.
You know, when you used to do Fitz gibberish and people would be like, man, what the hell is Fitz on? I'd be like, Jack. But now when you do it and you're sober, it's like, I don't have an excuse for you. You're talking about me doing robots. You're talking about me using nacho cheese for lube. You've got to seek help.
I'm just saying. Sports are getting more boring. I am just saying. Almost every sport this is leaked into.
Yeah.
Where it's like, oh, well, there was a 54% chance they should have, kicked the field goal there. There's a 3-pointer is much better to shoot. Oh, yeah. Like, let's go max effort with every pitcher until their arm falls off.
Well, you were right. I mean, because there was a lot less touchdown. I mean, only 5 quarterbacks threw 30 or more touchdowns passes this season. But there were 35 quarterbacks that completed over 60% of their passes, which is also different. So is it because we're not seeing Is it the quarterback play where they're not going deep? Is it are they just throwing more high percentage passes and then there's just not as many plays made? Is it the wide receiver play that's down? Is it it's hard to say that defense is up because of the way that you protect a quarterback, the way you protect wide receivers, the way you protect the offensive side of the game. It's not, I don't believe that it's that. And I don't look Joe Burrow on a team that was what 9-8 this year or 8-9. He threw for 43 touchdowns and he led the league. He had MVP type numbers, but he was on an 8-9 team, 9-8 team, so nobody's going to talk about him for MVP.
That defense was terrible.
The defense was terrible, but when you throw for that many yards like he did, he led the league in yards. He led. I think he won the triple crown for quarterbacks, and he's not going to be the MVP.
Yeah, I mean, they didn't win enough games. I think that's what they look at. You got to be a playoff team.
What do people always say? Wins and losses aren't a quarterback stat.
No, they aren't.
So you know what I mean? Like it's just got to be give and take. Like you're talking about quarterbacks aren't throwing as many touchdowns and they're not going deep.
They're not going deep as much. I don't think they are.
Stuff. Well, yeah, but
well, I don't think they are. I mean, the numbers bear it out.
It's also the new age of football. It's the too high safety defense that is changing things. You're not running a 4-6 anymore. You're not doing the things that they used to do back in the 80s and 90s and early 2000s.
They've run a cover two.
Well, no,
they've
because
been running a cover two for 25 years.
Now there's a safety to cover, or sometimes and if you know the guy that's going to beat you deep, if you know Tyreek Hill is going to be open downfield, you throw two safeties deep towards his end of the field, because now all of a sudden, if he does burn his cornerback, then you still got double coverage. And if he doesn't burn his quarterback, now he's triple covered.
I just don't think guys are making the throw. Cover two's been around for 25, 30, maybe even 40 years. I just don't think they're throwing. I just don't think they're throwing downfield anymore. I think everything is on the data. I think in most sports, that's what's happening. I mean, we've already seen it in baseball. They had to change around the league and the rules because of it. In basketball, it's getting really bad. You see some basketball, there's like 5 possessions in a row of guys just chucking up threes without one pass.
Yeah, I mean,
that's getting weird.
I mean, I did call an NCAA women's game yesterday, so I've seen my share of rough basketball. No, it was actually a good game yesterday. I'm not gonna lie. CSU and Stonehill was actually a really good game. But yeah, I don't know if the game is getting watered down or whatever the case is. But I mean, you're right. I think you're just seeing a lot more high percentage passes, and that's why you see, which you would never see before, 35 quarterbacks completing 60% of their passes. Like you'd never see that before.
No, you wouldn't. That is true. I don't know if it's right or not. What I'm saying is I want to see, chaos and messiness and throwing it downfield and it getting picked and as good as a punt or whatever.
So you want to see more Jameis Winston?
That's why I was actually I had him in Fitzgibbons, but as you could have heard, it was a bit long. So I didn't put him in there. But yes, I mean, there's something to that, to going for at least some of the times. I mean, every time a quarterback start, I just hear it. Sometimes I listen to the broadcast. Sometimes I don't like to, but every broadcast, they're like, oh, this quarterback's getting better because he's checking the ball down more. Well, that's I'm sorry. That is boring.
Are you like George McCaskey and you just turn the volume down whenever Joe Buck comes on?
I don't have the problem with Joe Buck that a lot of people have, but like
George McCaskey clearly does, because
I'm talking about veterans. Like even Tom Brady will say it, and a lot of the other announcers will say it, and it's just like, yeah, but I don't want to fucking see checkdowns.
Yeah.
That's not fun for me. Check down. Another flag. Another flag.
Well, you want to see smart quarterback play, though, right? Like, I mean,
rushing is up right now. Yeah, I do want to see smart when it makes sense. But I mean, I thought Caleb Williams was handcuffed half of this year.
And Shed on Sports says the NFL, because of the legalities, has specified right in front of us slowly year by year. The only way to sustain a quarterback-driven league is to make sure that they don't get hurt. And I mean, look,
Totally
that's part of
believe
it
that.
too. But now, not only are the rules changing to help quarterbacks, but quarterbacks are actually taking advantage of it. I mean, you see it all the time, where especially with Patrick Mahomes, where he gets close to the sideline and he starts inching like he's just going to go out of bounds, but then he tries to take a couple more yards, and then somebody shoves him out of bounds, and he does a LeBron flop, and now there's a flag. And luckily last week they didn't throw the flag on it, because those are the things that you've got to be able to stop, like something like the hip drop tackle. There was a non-call on the hip drop tackle last week, but if you're going to implement the rule, you've got to call it, but you've also got to realize that once guys start taking advantage of these rules, you got to penalize that too. Like if you see a quarterback is going to go out of bounds, and then he sees that a guy's going to come close, so he tries to take a couple extra yards, that ball should either A, be marked where he was, or where he slowed down to show he was going out of bounds, or B, it should be a 10-yard penalty on the quarterback. Like
Yeah.
you've got to find a way to
Allow guys to tackle from behind
well, not only just
or to
allow
get a quarterback to the ground even when he's
yeah, I
beyond the
don't
line of scrimmage. I mean, come on.
yeah. I mean, you don't. That's why you rely on playmakers nowadays. That's why, when you look at Cincinnati and you look at Joe Burrow, I mean, a lot of his passes across the middle to Jamar Chase and T. Higgins go for touchdowns. But he only threw the ball 8 yards, but it's a 75-yard touchdown pass. You know what I mean? Like it's you need playmakers. We talked about it this year, and then we watched it. Remember, I don't know if you remember when the Bears were good back in like week 3, week 4, when I said I want to see
Hey,
DJ Moore.
almost through week 7.
You got to put DJ Moore on more crossing routes and let the feet do the work. Hit him on a 5-yard slant, and then what happened? They hit him on a 5-yard slant, and he took it 35 yards for a touchdown. Like you need playmakers to make plays. Now, again, I don't know the reason for not going deep. I don't know if it's percentages. I don't know if you're looking at the analytics. I don't know what it is.
They're
But
looking at the analytics.
the Detroit Lions
1000%.
sustained drives like crazy with Jared Goff. Like a lot of their scoring drives are 9, 10, 11 play drives. The Detroit Lions were putting up points like crazy, 40 plus points a game with 9 or 10.
I'm not saying those aren't needed, and I'm not even saying those aren't needed. I'm just saying when every drive is that, and the whole thrust of the league is going that way, and every year it gets more and more that. And Shed on Sports, I thought maybe like who's the top deep ball throwers in the league? I mean, yeah, I guess you can say Burrow is one. I mean, there is some good deep throwers, but they don't throw deep anymore. There's no, and maybe I was thinking about Cutlass, the DUI, the
When you think about
DUI guy.
riding a bike.
He's guys like that aren't coming into the league anymore, and I think he has a point there.
So we want to see our quarterbacks riding bikes on the sidelines.
Here we go. We need to do another relitigators.
Fuck Jay Cutler. Anyway, so I want to get to a little bit of Major League Baseball here. It always draws ire out of me this time of year, right? When you get to the Hall of Fame voting. And normally it's still because the Hall of Fame's a joke. It's just a museum. It's no longer a when you don't have guys like Roger Clemens and Barry Bonds, who's the greatest player to ever step on a field, when you don't have those guys in the Hall of Fame, your Hall of Fame it's not a Hall of Fame. It's just a Hall of who do we like. And it bothers me even more when you have baseball writers who will hold the guy off a ballot because Babe Ruth wasn't a unanimous Hall of Famer, so nobody's ever going to be a unanimous Hall of Famer. It's dumb. And Ichiro missed unanimous voting, being the first position player to be unanimously voted, because there's only been one player ever unanimously voted, and that was a pitcher, a relief pitcher, closer, greatest closer of all time, Mariano Rivera. There's never been a position player unanimously voted, and Ichiro missed it by 1 vote. I want that coward to show himself. I want that coward to let everybody know he is the asshole. He is the idiot. He is the moron. He is the dipshit that did not vote for Ichiro into the Hall of Fame. Ichiro didn't even come to play in the major leagues until he was like 29 or 30, and he still had 3,000 hits. Like, what are we doing? What are we doing? The baseball writers it's just a good old boys club now. It's not even a baseball Hall of Fame. You've got a guy like David Ortiz, who fantastic, one of the greatest clutch hitters of all time. Never played a position. He was a DH. Is in the Hall of Fame. But Barry Bonds isn't, because Barry Bonds took steroids. David Ortiz has 2 failed tests, but you liked him. He was a good guy. Barry Bonds was an asshole. Barry Bonds did not endear himself to the media, so you don't vote him into the Hall of Fame. But if you took all 762 of his home runs and turned them into outs, not singles, not doubles, not triples, not walks, not nothing, turned them into outs, his OPS career-wise is still 5 points higher than David Ortiz. That's insane. It is insane to have a guy who averaged an 8.8 WAR per season is not in the Hall of Fame. I sat here last week, and we Cubs convention was there, and Ian Happ does a great job with his podcast and talking about players, and he did a great job interviewing Sammy Sosa, and he was all giddy because in I think it was year 2000, or maybe it might have been 2001, while Sammy Sosa was on that run of 4 straight or 3 straight 60 home run seasons, he had a 10 WAR. His WAR was in double digits. Barry Bonds had 5 of those seasons. Barry Bonds had 5 of those seasons, and you were giddy about Sammy Sosa's 1. But Barry Bonds isn't in the Hall of Fame. It's not a Hall of Fame anymore. It's just not. And I love baseball. I love baseball more than I love my wife. Sorry, babe. I love
Oh
baseball, man.
my God.
It's a
Hurts the
different.
robots now. This
She knows. We've talked about this. It's a different kind of love,
chat,
right?
chat on sports says, "Damn, Combs." Shit, you're right.
It just, this game is great. And all of this talk, we let a guy like Ty Cobb into the Hall of Fame, a guy who was a known racist, a guy who would beat a black person for walking on the same sidewalk as them, who was just a complete asshole. Great baseball player. I mean, just the numbers are through the roof. Great baseball player, great hitter, one of the greatest of all time on the baseball field. We let him in the Hall of Fame, but we draw the moral compass at steroids. We draw the moral compass at PEDs and trying to be better and trying to stay healthy so that you can play longer and be great longer. I'm on the side of bring steroids back. We're gonna
Oh
have a
my
whole
God.
we're gonna have a whole season in 2026 or 2027 after this collective bargaining agreement that is gone. We're going to have a whole season that is missed because the owners are going to want a salary cap because of what's going on with the Dodgers. They're going to want to do away with deferred money, and in turn, the players are going to ask for a salary floor. Guarantee you, it's going to be a long strike, and we're going to need something to bring baseball back, like they did after the '94 strike. And you know what brought it back? The fucking steroid era. Watching McGwire and Sosa hit home run after home run after home run in '98, which, by the way, Barry Bonds hit 50 in that year too. But nobody paid attention because these guys were hitting 66 and 72. Like, no, or 66 and 70, sorry. Barry Bonds later hit 72. But you were so focused on the fact that these guys, it was a level playing field. Everybody was using back then. Even your freaking golden child, Cal Ripken Jr., which old white people hate hearing me say, use steroids. There's no way you played all of those consecutive games without something to get you through minor nagging injuries. There is no way. Everybody was using it. Was a level playing field. They all should be in. The baseball writers have it all wrong. And to totally do away with an era except for the players that you liked, players that you had a good relationship with, and letting those guys in? Stop it. I listen to guys like Charles Anthony on Dads with Bacon talk about how Barry Bonds is not the greatest player of all time because he was an asshole and he was a bad teammate. Well, if that's the case, then Michael Jordan's not the greatest basketball player of all time. Because you know what? Michael Jordan was an asshole and he was not a great teammate. But he was so great at the sport and he elevated his team because of the way he was. Because guys were afraid to not do the things that they did. So those are things. I don't care if you're an asshole off the field. That's your prerogative. I don't care if you're not a good teammate. That's your prerogative. I'm sure there's a lot of assholes and not great teammates, Ty Cobb, who are in the Hall of Fame. It bothers me so much, and then to not vote for Ichiro, to show me the jerk off that didn't vote for Derek Jeter, show me the jerk off that didn't vote for for Ken Griffey Jr. I mean, there's so many that deserve that should just be first ballot Hall of Fame. They just put in God, who's the pitcher that just went in? Forget his name. They just voted him in this year. He was all excited, but Mark Burley's not a Hall of Famer. Mark Burley has better numbers. Mark Burley threw a no-hitter and a perfect game. And he's not in the Hall of Fame? I mean, it's just about who you like in the politics. The politics play a big role in it, too. That's the whole reason why Mr. Kurt Schilling Bloody Sock is not in. Look at Kurt Schilling's numbers. Look at Kurt Schilling's postseason numbers. Absolutely a Hall of Famer.
But he's a bit of a prick. I get you there, and I think Shanna says Ty Cobb was let in because of the era he played in too, and I think I think I don't know. It's hard to read my brother sometimes, but my brother John says that's a lie. There is a book that's out that's like gaining popularity now, but it's been out for 10 years that says that a lot of the things said about Ty Cobb was false, that he wasn't a racist, actually.
Yeah,
a lot of that just like picked up steam and was just the legend became fact instead of the fact becoming the legend, which does happen, especially since the guy died in 1961. But
yeah,
I still like the thrust of your argument. I think I think a lot of these Hall of Fames are bullshit. I really do. I mean, the NFL Hall of Fame is even more bullshit. They let almost anybody into the NFL Hall of Fame. And I'm not saying that about Devin Hester, but about a lot of the guys. I always thought the Baseball Hall of Fame, I mean, I guess it does matter a lot to the players. So I have to give it credence, but I don't really care if a guy's in the Hall of Fame or not. I mean, I root for players if I like the guy and the way he plays on the field. I agree with you. If he's an asshole, I don't know when it became where if you're an asshole, you can't be in public life anymore. Because I'm telling you,
stay in that basement.
I'm telling you, no one would be in public life if you take one thing they did and wrap it around their entire life. Everybody's been an asshole at some point in his life. Jesus was a damn asshole at one point in his life. I'm sure the Pope was. I mean, a lot of people have been assholes in their life. And if we take a couple of those instances and we basically make that the biography of their life, like they did Ty Cobb, which I'm glad that you brought him up. If we make that their whole life, then yeah, we can make anybody into a prick or an asshole. This whole social media thing, no matter what argument you have, you're almost never 100% right. Almost never. So get over it, people. You're almost never going to change some position that somebody has. And we're all assholes at some time in our life. And I'm sorry, ladies, we're bitches too. I could be a bitch sometimes. I mean, we are all like that. I don't get that social media is supposed to be bringing us more together and supposed to understand humanity a little bit more and communicate with ourselves a little bit more. And all it does is separate ourselves more. Like, oh yeah, that guy's an asshole. He said this, or he wore blackface, or he did all these other things. That really, if we take a couple of subsections of anybody's life, The time that you put your ass on somebody's toothbrush, the time that I don't know, I can name about a million. I never did that. That's just one thing I was
Oh
thinking
yeah,
about
that
right
was just
now.
that was just a very specific random situation, huh?
I
Wow.
honestly never did that, but now I wish I did to you. Don't let me in your bathroom again. I'm just saying, if we take one moment out of somebody's life or just a couple, I mean, maybe Barry Bonds is a good guy. I don't know. I've never met him. And I'm not going to say that about everybody. I mean, obviously, Hitler was a problem, but some people, I mean, we do a couple of things wrong and then we call them an asshole, and now we're not voting for them anymore.
Yeah.
Look, when the steroid era was on, I was like, these guys are on steroids. They should never be in the Hall of Fame. Now I've come around to the fact I don't think people should be taking steroids now unless for injuries, because I think
Yeah.
everybody takes steroids for injuries. Yes, that's what I was talking about. John said about Ty Cobb. Bro, you should see the WWE Hall of Fame. I'm surprised you're not.
I mean, everybody is in the WWE Hall of Fame.
Is that
I want to
Combs
touch on
Jr.?
Chad.
Hey,
On
Combs
Shad's.
Jr. How you doing, buddy?
Shad says he's not fucking wrong at all. I'm a Southsider that watched the cleanest man in baseball be ignored by MLB for a decade. Big Hurt is a unicorn. So
Yeah.
I hate to burst your bubble, Shad.
Yeah, here we go.
Everybody in that era used at some form. Look, I'm not saying that maybe he did. Maybe he was the cleanest player of all time. Griffey also
Fitzgibberish round 2. Thanks, Jules.
Griffey also used. And some players, and I've talked about this before. We've had this conversation before. Some players used to get big, like but Sammy Sosa was a tiny player. Barry Bonds was a tiny player. Barry Bonds was great when he was tiny, though. And some players use to get past injury, because when you go to a doctor and you have a nagging injury, strain your MCL or your LCL. You can still walk, but it hurts and it's nagging. They prescribe you a steroid. And that's how you, and that's what some steroids do. They allow you to heal quicker. They allow you to maintain your body, and that's how some players decided to use. Now, I'm not going to accuse
Patients take steroids all the
I'm
time.
not going to accuse Frank Thomas of steroid use. That's not why
That's
I'm here.
actually what you did because he's a
But
White Sox player.
I believe every player in that era, you couldn't convince me that anybody, not even Ryan Sandberg, who is my favorite player of all time. I hope that
How
he
dare you, sir? The man is fighting cancer.
I love Ryan Sandberg.
And he's probably got some steroids.
named my son after Ryan Sandberg. I love Ryan Sandberg. You can't convince me that nobody didn't use.
Snoop Dogg is
There's
in the
nobody.
WWE Hall of Fame.
Why are we talking about the WWE? This kid. I'm taking him to the Royal Rumble next week. So now all he wants to talk
Yeah, he's jazzed up. Let him be happy for
He's
once.
turning-
You're
he's turning
fucking
21.
miserable
He's
sitting
gonna
in
be
your
20
basement like a
He's gonna be
troll.
21. We're gonna go out and celebrate. So
All right,
come with
let's
us.
go, Junior.
You want to go out with us?
Probably have to
Miami?
drive your old man home after a few shots of screwball.
I don't
Pedro
believe.
didn't juice.
I don't. I mean, I don't believe. Again, there are some players
I don't
that
know. He went from having a 90-mile-an-hour fastball and getting hit all over the place to having a 98-mile-an-hour fastball. That's a little weird.
again.
A little weird. Weird.
Some guys juice to stay healthy, and some guys juice to get bigger. There's nobody that couldn't do it. So that's just how it was. It was the steroid era, and I'm fine with it. I don't care if you used. I really don't. Doesn't bother me one bit that Barry Bonds was a PED user. And again, the man has 0 failed tests. He has as many failed tests as the Big Hurt. He has as many failed tests as Cal Ripken Jr. He has less failed tests than guys that are in the Hall of Fame. And we're gonna hold him out. It's stupid.
Yeah, I think he was in the Hall of Fame if he ended his career before he said he did steroids, which was after the 98 seasons and stuff like that. He already had all the gold
1992.
gloves and all
In
that.
92, he had an 11.3 WAR.
Yeah, I mean, he used to be a great fielder until his head grew like 10 sizes and his feet grew. He looked like freaking Bozo the Clown. But
Yes.
I mean, no. There should have been a relitigator segment. That's all I'm saying.
We could still do it. I could talk about this in different aspects all day long, every day. It boggles my mind how bad and how one-sided baseball writers could be. That's why you see jokes of certain, that's why Dan Lebitard, when he had a vote, made a mockery of it. And he had his
I
vote
don't think
stripped
you're
from him.
supposed to say that word anymore.
What?
Oh,
Stripped?
sorry. I thought you said retard. I'm kidding. Oh, I said it.
Lebitard. Yeah, now you said it. Great. Now we're canceled. But no, Dan Lebitard posted his ballot and allowed the people to pick. He said, "Hey, you guys tell me who you want me to vote for. I'll vote for and turn it in because this is a sham." And he exposed the Baseball Hall of Fame. And this was like 20 years ago. It's a joke, and it's been a joke for a long, long time. So, at any rate, I think we've rambled on long enough. Let's talk about today's championship games.
The subject we have all been waiting for.
You got Commanders and Eagles today.
My Commanders. Just call them Redskins. You want to.
The Commanders are a 6-point underdog in Philadelphia. I think that's way too much, man. I think Jaden Daniels is the real deal. I like Jaden Daniels a lot. I think that his ceiling right now is what his ceiling is. But I mean, damn, man, if you get 5 or 6 or 7 or 10 years of this type of play, Commanders are going to be good for a very, very, very long time. I think they beat the Eagles today. I know a lot of people are talking about the Eagles defense and how good the Eagles defense is. This is the third time you're seeing this team. And I look, it was they were 1-1 in the regular season, and it's just, I mean, Jaden Daniels and the Washington Commanders are doing something special. And you talk about defense and the Eagles defense, the Detroit Lions defense was supposed to be much better too. The Detroit Lions, the defense was supposed to be the problem for Washington last week, and it wasn't. It wasn't at all. They put 45 points up on them in Detroit. Do I think they put up 45 points today? No, I think it's a closer game. I think it's a lower scoring game.
Philly's defense is much, much better.
But I
and
think
less hurt.
I think Detroit, or I think that Washington wins this game today. I think Washington's going to the Super Bowl, so I'll take Washington +6.
Oh boy. No, I got to take the Eagles there. I think it's because of better defense. I mean, maybe they don't get past that -6 just because Jalen's hurt. Jalen Hurts is hurt. Might be wearing a brace today. I don't know. But yeah, I gotta side with Jeremiah. Rookie QB has never taken a team to the Super Bowl. I think the law averages get Jaden Daniels back, and finally he maybe throws a pick or two in today's game. Maybe doesn't have a completion rating as good as it's been throughout the year.
4 years ago, there was never a home team that played a Super Bowl and won one. And then Tom Brady did it in Tampa.
Okay.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, there's always something that somebody has never done until somebody does it.
Yeah, I agree with that, but that's not a reason why to take them.
It's also not a reason why not to take
the Redskins. I think they're pretty equal on offense.
Yeah.
I think Philly's running game is maybe right now in the playoffs, the best running game around. I mean, now that the Ravens are out of it. But I really think that the defense of the Eagles a little bit better than the defense. I think the offense is about equal. I think Saquon Barkley has another huge day, and he might be the difference in this game, like he was a difference in the first round game. I just think they're too much for the Redskins. I think it's a great run by the Redskins. I think they're going to be around for a while. I thought Jaden Daniels, he was my 1B in the draft last year, or 1A.
We can go back to this argument real quick, though, right? Because you can agree that if they don't win today, it's not going to be because Jaden Daniels is a rookie, right?
It could be. He could make those little mistakes that haven't been cleaned up because he made
mistakes. It's not because he's a rookie.
Rookies make rookie mistakes. You do agree with that, right? You can agree with that.
Yeah, I agree with that in the regular season, but if you're good enough to get the NFC title game and you make a mistake,
You
it's
don't make
because you're a
any more
rookie
rookie
quarterback.
mistakes. You don't make any more mistakes. You don't see a blitz when you come up to the line that might be disguised, and maybe you make a mistake and you fumble the ball when you get sacked. You don't make any more mistakes. That's it. The mistakes are done for Jaden Daniels. He's a finished product. I don't believe that. Oh,
Jules,
Jules,
it's because you're finally
you're
seeing the
agreeing
way.
with a Packer fan. You're agreeing with a Packer fan right now. Combs
Yeah,
and
we both
Jules, you're
agree.
agreeing
Jordan
with
Love is
Combs,
not the
who
future
is
in Green Bay.
becoming the enemy of the state right now. I just think the Eagles have this game. They might not win by a lot, but I think they have this game. Good running game. I mean, I think I'm taking the lesser quarterback, just with one of them having an injury problem here.
Yeah.
But I think the running game and the defense makes up for that, and that's really against what I usually think in a game. But all right,
We'll see. We'll see. Let's get to the game that everybody wants to talk about, and that is the Buffalo Bills and the Kansas City Chiefs. At Arrowhead, the Bills are gonna take on the Chiefs and the refs. And
yes.
the Chiefs and the refs are a 2-point favorite in Kansas City. I've been all over Buffalo. I was not on them before the season. If you guys
No, we
remember when
both
we talked
weren't.
about
Yeah,
them, I
he made a
thought it was
couple
going to
of
be a down
weird moves.
season, and Josh Allen has proven me wrong time after time after time again. And I always say, like, Patrick Mahomes is not. He's like Tom Brady and Michael Jordan. You never want to bet against them. But Josh Allen is on a mission, and I just don't think Kansas City's defense is as good as it used to be. I don't think that the refs are going to play a role in this one, because I don't think this one's going to be close. I think Buffalo's going to win this one. I think they're going to win it pretty handily. I think their defense is better. I think their offense is better, and Josh Allen is just doing special things. So I'm going to take the Bills. I'm going to take the +2. I'm going to take the Bills on the money line. Give me the Bills to win this game by probably I'd say, let's say 24 to 13. I'll say 24-13.
11 points.
Yeah.
Junior said the same thing. He's got the Bills winning by 11
That's a lot
against
of
the Chiefs,
points.
35-24. My only problem with this game is, what if Xavier Worthy is the difference in this game, and you traded that first round pick to the Chiefs to go down? The Chiefs get Xavier Worthy. He's had a pretty good year, up and down, as any rookie wide receiver year is, a little over 600 yards. And he does run the ball a little bit. Sometimes they do a wide receiver because he can run like a freaking gazelle. But
Yeah.
what if he's the difference in this game? I mean, how are Bills fans going to feel then? That was a weird trade. That was one of the many reasons why we didn't have the Bills. We agreed on not having the Bills, not having a great year this season. But you're right. Josh Allen looks like he's on a mission. That whole team seems like they're on a mission. I just don't think the Chiefs really have been all that great this season. I mean, and I think a lot of people agree with that. We talked about the stats: 26 touchdowns by Mahomes this year. Matt Nagy's their offensive coordinator.
They've only scored 30 points twice this year, and they've never scored above 30. Still.
Yeah, and the Bills' running game, that's another good running game there. The running game has sort of been the story of the season. A lot of these teams have good running games that have made it deep into the playoffs or into the playoffs. And yeah, I mean, I don't see, I just don't see how, if the Chiefs win, they win by a few points. I can see the Bills running away with this at 11 points.
If they don't come out firing, the Bills will lose.
If they
They
don't,
keep trying to slow down games against the Chiefs, and it gets them. They gotta go balls to the wall. I mean, that's the general consensus. I think that I think they know that too. You've got to come out, and because you don't want it to be one of those where, you know, 2 minutes to go in the game, Patrick Mahomes is down by 6, and it's 3rd and 10. You know, a roughing the passer is coming, or a defensive hold is coming. You don't want to get in that situation. You don't want to leave it in. It's like UFC. Don't leave it in the hands of the judges. Just don't
2 minutes, 20 seconds. I mean, what was it? 20 seconds. If you in 2022, it was like 20 seconds.
It was 13. 13 seconds.
13 seconds. Yeah, 13 seconds. And they bearsed up that game. The Bills did. The Bills have a good, there's some parallels there between the Bills and the Bears. Bills have played better, obviously, since they got Josh Allen. But yeah, I mean, I don't see how the Chiefs win this game. I really don't, but you never know.
Yeah.
John says, let's go Buffalo.
It'll be fun. It'll be fun to watch. Buff-fa-lo. He couldn't put them all together. It was buff-fa.
He's excited. He's an excitable boy. Let him be.
One of the two.
Jesus Christ.
He had to sound it out.
He's going to
so
break
he could
your
spell
neck
it
one
right.
day. He's going to talk about getting punched in the throat.
He had to spell it right. He was like, all right, how do I do it? Buff, B-U-F, fa, F-F-A.
He's going to buffalo you.
L-O. Surprised he didn't put a W at the bottom. All right. Anyway, you ready to get out of here?
Let's do it. Let's leave.
Go.
I'm excited about leaving.
I'm excited about leaving too. We can't play any outro music or anything like that. I don't think. Maybe we can.
Do you know how to do anything?
Yeah. Holy cow, is that loud?
Like
Why is it so loud?
1918.
But at any rate,
What is happening?
I don't know. I just hit a button and it started playing this. So we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna get out of here. Combs and Fitz, Windy City Sports Talk, new look and new software. We're probably going back to the old software. We'll talk to you guys later. Have a good day.